So I've told the story of me getting off a tube train. I glance at someone's mirrored dress. She's like 20 years old. I look up at her face. She looks at me, split second, and she says, "Ew." Worst moment of my life. I'm not thinking about it still. It happened weeks ago. I won't be thinking about it every day for the rest of my life. If only I could go back. But actually, I had to go back. Because I'd left my little water bottle on the train. So I nipped back onto the tube, and the doors closed behind me. And there I was, back on the train, with the woman that had said, "Ew." She hadn't seen me. But now I was terrified, because if she turns round, she'll think I'm ogling her. You know, stalking her. So I thought, I'll get off at the next stop. So I do this. I look around, and she's also got off at the next stop. How stupid is that? Who gets off after one stop? Fucking hell. Seriously, walk it. Anyway, you punish people too quickly, they'll commit more serious transgressions. Happens with prisoners, it's happened with me. She punished me for the minor transgression of looking at her face. And now I've committed the more serious crime of stalking her by mistake. Fuck. What should the punishment be? Chemical castration. But as I said on the last episode, that would just make it worse. Whatever you do, it just gets worse. And I don't need punishment. My punishment enough was that she saw me. She saw me. She was with a group of mates. They were drunk, and she saw me. And she looked at me and she said, "Didn't I see you just getting off the last train at the last stop?" I said, "Yeah. I left my water bottle on the train." I showed her my little red water bottle and she said, "Ew." I said, "What's wrong with the water bottle?" And she said, "It doesn't matter. You were looking at me, weren't you?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Yeah, you were." She walked off with her friends. So, worst moment of my life again. So I was going to the opposite platform to go one stop back. Who goes one stop? What a cunt. And these girls are about to turn up for the escalator. She turns to me again. And she says, "Are you still following me?" And I said, "God, fuck's sake, no. I've got to go back one stop." And she said, "Why are you travelling one stop on the tube?" And all her mates laughed. And I said, "As I explained, I left my bottle on the train, so I needed to go back." And she said, "Why don't you just walk?" And I thought, yeah, I could do, I guess. So I started to walk towards them. They were going up the escalator, now so was I. And she said, "Again, you're following me, aren't you?" And I said, "I'm really not." And she said, "Where are you going anyway?" I said, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm going home from work." She said, "It's 11 o'clock at night. What do you work as?" I said, "Well, actually, I'm a stand-up comedian." And she said, "Oh, you're a stand-up comedian? Shut up. Tell me a joke." I said, "I can't do that." She said, "You're a stand-up comedian and can't tell a joke." I said, "Well, my stuff works best over like an hour. Or at least like a 5-minute podcast episode." And she said, "What's your next podcast episode going to be about?" And I thought, you know what? You.